Do you feel the vibes?
What's up, YouTube? It's Carolina Calvin coming back to you with another video. Welcome to my NFL 2018 Week 1 game recap between the Carolina Panthers and the Dallas Cowboys. The Carolina Panthers picked up the 16-8 win. Not much going through the air. Both teams struggle in their passing games. It's mostly a defensive battle where each team front seven pretty much controlled the game. Both teams were able to get pressure on the quarterback. Panthers were able to get a little bit more, and at their offense, the Panthers' offense was at least able to generate some more offense and get them some points. Now, the Cowboys did have a touchdown, but for the most part, the offense struggled, penalties. But let's get into the numbers. Starting with the Cowboys, Dak Prescott, 19 of 29, 170 yards, no touchdowns. He was sacked 6 times. So his offensive line didn't give him much help. And even when he had time, there was some errant throws by him. And a lot of it goes to, the first 3 games in preseason. A lot of times your first string guys on most teams, even a team like the Patriots with Tom Brady, who's, the dude, he knows football. I mean, he's been doing it for a while. Even he has to get the reps. And the Cowboys didn't get a lot of reps for some of these guys in the preseason. You can see the rust. You saw rust with a lot of teams, even with the Panthers. But penalties, Travis Frederick being out was huge. It is going to hurt that team all season. He at center, it's such a big deal. Going down to the rushing, Ezekiel Elliott, 15 carries, 69 yards, and a touchdown. Now, really outside of one drive, that was a touchdown drive, the Panthers really had them bottled up. They had the running game bottled up for the most part. Dak Prescott, 5 carries, 19 yards. Tavon, at this point, no one had over 5 yards. Most of your yards came from Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott. Looking down at receiving is pretty pathetic. Obviously, he doesn't have a bunch of receiving yards, but you watch the games. This game, Cole Beasley was the only one really able to get any kind of separation and give him a lane to throw to. Now, talk about the offensive line. It wasn't good. So he didn't have a lot of time to throw. But these other guys weren't able to create separation. Allen Hurns wasn't really able to create separation. This is the guy they brought in to kind of help, of course, with the absence of Dez Bryant, no Jason Witten, who somehow they always got open. He was a safety blanket for quarterbacks who've played in Dallas for years. Tony Romo, of course, now Prescott, and he's retired. And you kind of see that effect. You kind of see that effect of him not being there. And they're going to have a problem at receiver. Not only with just offensive line, but with receiver, guys can't create separation. But Cole Beasley, 7 receptions, 73 yards. Thompson, 3 receptions, 27. Allen Hurns, 1 reception for 20. Swain, 3 receptions, 18. And Elliott, 3 receptions for 17. They need to include him a little bit more in the passing game, especially when you don't. He is a matchup problem coming out of the backfield. He was a great receiver, coming out of college. So I think they need to utilize him more so in the passing game, and especially if the running game's not working. That would kind of give Dak that safety blanket with Witten not being there. So hopefully, offensive coordinator comes in later in the season and includes Ezekiel Elliott a little bit more in the passing game to take that pressure off Dak Prescott. But as you can see, no one had outside of Cole Beasley, no one had over 3 receptions or 30 receiving yards. So just goes to show you what those other guys contributed in this game. The defense. The Dallas defense, the front 7, I thought was really good. There was some nice plays dialed up, some nice blitzes at some really good time. They really took advantage of all the problems with that Carolina Panthers offensive line. DeMarcus Lawrence was good. I think that whole front 4 played good. And honestly, that's what really kept them in this game. Now, the Panthers had their moments where they did move the ball. The Cowboys struggled early in the game against the read option. Cam was able to run run wild. He had an early rushing touchdown, but for the most part, they were able to get pressure. They were able to hit Cam Newton, and I thought they did a good job against the receivers on the back end. Those Panther receivers just couldn't get much separation outside of really Christian McCaffrey, who was the guy. If you're watching, he didn't get it thrown to him every time, but he was able to get separation on the linebackers coming out of the backfield. So I think that was really where they had a problem, was just covering Christian McCaffrey because he was open a lot. He just didn't get the ball every time. But that front four, in terms of pass rush, did a really good job. Moving over to the Carolina Panthers. By the way, the Cowboys defense, I think they had 3 sacks and 4 QB hits and plenty of hurries. I don't have the hurry numbers, the pressure numbers up here. But watching the game, they got plenty of Cam. There were plenty of times where he was getting hit right when he was throwing the ball, or he had to run around and create more time because of his pocket collapsing. But moving over to Carolina, Cam Newton, 17 of 26, 161 yards. Like I said, he was sacked 3 times. He didn't have a touchdown. The offensive line is a disaster. Matt Khalil, of course, his injury. He sucks, but he is the starter at left tackle. Of course, Norwell lost him to Jacksonville. Darrell Williams gets hurt in this game, so they're moving Taylor Moton around. Sila Tolu, he was the starting right tackle, and he struggled when he came in just because he just doesn't have the reps at right tackle. And the tackle positions are difficult to play because you're playing, it's not like playing guard or center where you're playing in more of a confined area. When you're playing tackle, you're playing in space against these fast guys and DeMarcus Lawrence. You're going to face guys all year. So they have a huge problem in offensive line. Thought they did a solid job in run blocking, though. It was just pass protection was awful. Carolina's rushing, Cam Newton 13 of 58, 4.5. That was 4.5 average, 1 touchdown. Christian McCaffrey 10 carries for 50. C.J. Anderson 7 carries for 35. DJ Moore 1 carry for 3, and Alex Armai 1 carry for 1 yard, 1 touchdown. So he had that goal line touchdown. They ran the ball 32 times, 147 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's what the Panthers are going to do. They're going to run the ball, and they're going to try to, just because you look at these receivers, and maybe it was just week 1, but these guys weren't able to create much separation. And the injury to Greg Olsen was huge. Like I said, it's a safety blanket. Now, Christian McCaffrey is becoming that, but you really need Greg Olsen because now you have Ian Thomas, a 4th-round rookie, pretty much is going to be taking that spot. He has huge upside, but he's still a rookie. Still not as good of a route runner as Greg Olsen. So hopefully Greg Olsen's injury isn't that bad, but he was in the boot. So, yeah, hopefully it's not, because he broke his foot last year. Hopefully it's not a bad injury this time. Carolina's receiving. Christian McCaffrey, 6 receptions, 45 yards. Devin Funchess, 3 receptions, 41. Greg Olsen, 2 receptions, 33 before he got injured. Jarius Wright, 3 receptions, 23. Torrey Smith, 1 reception for 15. And Ian Thomas, 2 receptions for 4. Like I said, receivers weren't able to create much separation. And I'm confused about this. Why didn't DJ Moore get more playing time? Why didn't Curtis Samuel get more playing time? Guys who can, you saw Curtis Samuel. He can create separation. He's a shifty guy. He's fast. So I don't understand why you wouldn't, he wouldn't get more playing time. I don't think I saw him on the field. I have to look at his snaps, but I don't think I saw him much on the field. DJ Moore was really mostly covering, he was pretty much covering punts for the most part. The Carolina defense, Luke Kuechly was an animal. He was all over the field. He had 13 tackles. I mean, this guy is a beast. One of the best middle linebackers in football. But for the most part, it was the Panthers' pass rush. They really took advantage of the issues with the Cowboys' offensive line. That Cowboys' offensive line has regressed in the last couple of years. and Travis Frederick not being there is a huge loss because there was a lot of interior pressure. K'Wan Short had 2 sacks. Mario Addison, Wes Horton had a sack and a half. Shaq Thompson had a sack. And Dak Prescott got hit 10 times. Many of his throws were bothered because of pressure. Julius Peppers was able to cause pressure. Even to end the game, Mario Addison had a strip sack fumble of Dak Prescott that pretty much got recovered and sealed the game for the Panthers. So that Panthers front is still really good. And I don't know, I saw someone talking like they weren't getting much pressure. They got plenty of pressure in this game. They're not gonna get pressure on every down, but I thought they got plenty of pressure in the game to really throw Dak's rhythm off. And I think the secondary did a solid enough job of covering the receivers, really outside of Cole Beasley, who was really able to get open down the field. They did a really good job against most of the other receivers. I like that kid Dante Jackson because he's willing to get his hat in there in the run game, and he has the speed on the outside. And you saw he was matched up a lot one-on-one with his receiver. He was moving all around the field, but I do like him at that position, at cornerback, because he pretty much is a starting cornerback. He's not the number 2 guy. The running game, they pretty much did a really good job against the running game. Cowboys, like I said, outside of really one drive, of course, what Zeke did get his touchdown, they had it bottled up for a majority of the game. Looking at penalties, turnovers, both teams had a fumble. Cowboys came at the end of the game, and the Panthers a goal line fumble by Christian McCaffrey. Penalties, it was pretty bad. And the Cowboys really hurt themselves with penalties because they don't have the receivers, nor is the offensive line playing well enough to be in second and long, third and long. You saw a lot of that in this game, and it's what really hurt their offense. Weird play calling, and you could tell they were kind of just like protecting Dak Prescott at times. Second and long, and they run a draw play. I understand you want to get the ball in Zeke's hands, but you're 2nd and 20. You might want to try to pick that up in chunks, just so you won't have your quarterback in 3rd and long. You want to get them a manageable down. They were terrible in, they were terrible in 2nd and long, 3rd and long, and the penalties really created that, holding penalties, and it just shows you the pressure that the Panthers defensive line was able to produce. Usually when you get a holding penalty, it's because a guy got beat. The Panthers didn't do too well in terms of penalties either. The Cowboys had 10 penalties for 85 yards. The Panthers had 9 penalties for 80 yards. Last season, the Panthers had the fewest penalties at around 5 per game. So hopefully they can still stick to that. Like I said, this probably going to be an uphill battle with the issues at the offensive line. You saw a lot of holding penalties for both teams, and you're probably still going to see it with the Panthers with all the moving around, moving parts and stuff. But looking at both teams, the offense for the Panthers, the offensive line, I like what the running backs have been doing. Greg Olsen, hopefully he's healthy. Luke Kuechly got hurt, but he did finish the game, which is why I didn't bring it up. I like the defense. They're still going to be one of the highest sack defenses in football. A lot of underrated guys. Mario Addison is underrated. K'Wan Short doesn't get enough credit. Julius Peppers is still able to create pressure. Underrated front four. They need a little bit more depth, but I think a lot of people overlook them. For the Cowboys, offensive line problems, receiver problems. I like the defense, though. The defense is going to keep them in a lot of games. I feel as though the defense is going to keep them in a lot of games. They kept them in this one, but I do like that defense. They got a young defense. DeMarcus Lawrence, he dude's a beast. He creates. You look at last season, he was able to create a lot of pressure. I like Sean Lee at linebacker. Hopefully he stays healthy. If he stays healthy, that team is really good. But the offense, probably for the most part during the season, not going to do them any favors. But let me know what you think down in the comment section. I may think about doing another game a week. It just depends on how I feel. Just let me know down in the comment section what you think about this game, and what would, just looking into week 2, what would be a game that you would like me to recap. And I'll think about it. Like this video, hit that thumbs up button, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.